The Court of Blood and Bindings, Chapter 21, Short Summary. Em comes up with a plan on how to rescue Creon, who is being tortured by the evil Fae Queen. Em reads a note from Creon, which attempts to justify all of his weird, aloof actions. Emelin seeks the aid of a human serf named Finn, who lives in the faewood. Detailed summary with some analysis. With Creon in chains on display, Lysandra flies Em back to Creon's house to get her belongings, while Em tries to hide her grief. Lysandra asks if Em is alright, which is completely out of character for her since she's supposed to be the villain's henchman. Lysandra also drops a cryptic hint saying, "It can be complicated when the wrong people mean the wrong things to you. Come see me if you need help." Not sure whether to trust her, Em pretends to be okay, but suspects Lysandra might secretly be sympathetic to her because she is estranged from her demon lover Anaxia. The author is basically holding up a big neon sign here, saying, Lysandra might secretly be an ally. Em now fully believes Creon is on her side, since he sacrificed himself to save her. She suddenly realizes he slipped a note into her pocket. The note is almost an apology from Creon, saying he wishes her well and hopes that Lyn and Terrid will help her more than he has. But if you read the note carefully, it's not actually an apology to Emelin. It's more like a farewell or goodbye note, emphasizing Creon's self-sacrifice and stoic suffering, rather than taking accountability for all of his aloofness, unavailability, and lack of clear communication throughout the book. Creon's note explains his tragic past. His evil Fae Queen mother imprisoned his demon father. His demon father escaped and tortured a 9-year-old Creon, feeding off his torment before mother found them and killed his father on the spot. Creon vowed to never be like his demon father and claims he only used his demon magic on Em once to comfort her to sleep on her first night. Supposedly, all of Em's romantic feelings towards Creon were her own, not demon magic manipulations. But Creon admits he could sense her feelings the whole time, and admits that's unfair. Imagine you're playing poker, but you can see the other person's cards, and they can't see yours. So being able to read Emelin's emotions didn't lend itself to any kind of manipulation at all? Yeah, right. The last few paragraphs of Creon's note declares how much he cares about her, and how he's been aloof this whole time because he was too attracted to her. Imagine you've been begging your partner not to keep ditching you, but they keep leaving you with little to no explanation for weeks. Then they finally come back, without actually apologizing, to write you a ChatGPT note full of M dashes, saying they went missing because they are too attracted to you, and that they needed to disappear to control their attraction to you. Would you believe them? It sounds like a classic F-boy apology to explain why he's been gone most of the time. The note contains a fair amount of praise and validation, telling Em how much he is in awe of her, admires her, and how she's been so brave. I mean, okay, why didn't you say any of that when she was screaming for you not to leave a few chapters ago, instead of just disappearing without a word? But reading words of validation for like 5 seconds is enough for Emelin to completely change her mind and forgive all of Creon's F-boy behavior. Emelin, clearly suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, believes every word and cries for a long time, resolving to save Creon no matter what. Em comes up with a plan and finds the human woman with a barn again, the one who keeps calling her a Fae whore. This time, Em explains that she and Creon are trying to kill Mother, the evil Fae Queen, so the woman is friendlier. The woman, named Finn, no relationship to Adventure Time, explains she is part of a group of human serfs kept on the island to work the lands, and some of them are publicly executed occasionally to keep the people terrorized. Yeah, remember when Creon made a big deal out of reassuring Emelin that the food they're eating is ethically sourced and not from human exploitation? The food was delivered via baskets from other Fae, so how could Creon possibly guarantee it wasn't the result of human exploitation, when they literally have human slave farmers living next door to Creon? It's on the map at the beginning of the book. You can see Greyside, the human slave farms, next to Creon's pavilion. Because Em has plot armor, it's safe for her to reveal everything to Finn, including her half-Fae powers, which are supposed to be a big secret, and Finn deduces that Creon needs Em to kill Mother because Em is the only person with powers who are not bound. Quick reminder, not bound means that she's able to magically attack Mother, unlike everyone else who is bound. This part was crazy to me because Finn threatened to turn her in to the Fae Masters, and yet Emelin immediately reveals information that could get her and Creon killed, information that she's been hiding her whole life. Em and Finn banter some more, with Em admitting she is a bit of a Fae whore after all, so Finn agrees to do whatever she can to help Em, because now Finn is totally on Emelin's side? Even though she seemed to hate Emelin before, we're supposed to believe Finn hates the Fae more, But then why did she threaten to report Emelin to the Fae when they first met? M's unexplained plan involves spending all night altering her blue dress and going back to the court where Mother is. Remember this for the next chapter. She spent all night altering her dress, staying up until sunrise. So you'd expect some serious alterations, right? Not simply stitching something to the underside of her dress where nobody can see it. Analysis. Emelin is clearly guilty about the way she treated Creon, even though her objections and doubts were perfectly reasonable. After she reads his note and cries until she cannot cry anymore, the reader is supposed to think that Creon has been completely redeemed in her eyes. The book goes out of its way to justify Creon's aloof and uncaring behavior, retconning it as, he secretly cared so much he just couldn't show it. This invalidates Emelin and the reader's perceptions about his suspicious and red flag behaviors throughout the book. It models a relationship where a woman is wrong to doubt a man who is acting suspiciously and to instead assume he is suffering in silence on her behalf. It would be funny if this turned out to be true even half of the time. More often than not, a man who exhibits these red flag behaviors is not suffering in secret on the woman's behalf. He is usually just being selfish, and the woman is right to perceive that. The way the narrative is set up to gaslight Emelin, who is in an extremely vulnerable position, is a harmful portrayal to any woman who has experienced these red flags. It's a classic abuse cycle pacing: mistreatment followed by minimal gesture of validation, followed by emotional high, followed by recommitment. The ultimate takeaway is, if you think your man is cheating on you or being selfish and uncommunicative, you are wrong, not him. And you should apologize and cry until you can't cry anymore for how you've wronged him just by doubting him. By depicting this as romantic, the book risks teaching readers that the apology letter stage is proof of love, not part of a toxic loop. Finn's 180-degree heel turn from Fae whore hater to ally isn't earned, it's more plot convenience. Symbolically, it reinforces the trope that once the heroine admits her flaws or embraces shame labels, women who hated her will suddenly respect her. Like the romanticization of Creon's toxic behaviors, Finn's sudden acceptance of Emelin is also insidious because it suggests solidarity is earned through self-abasement, not mutual resistance to oppression. The dress alteration, or Chekhov's gun dress, serves as narrative padding. You'll see in the final chapter why this preparation scene was a total waste of time and only makes Emelin appear busy while not doing anything actually useful. I cannot stress enough how unearned the ending feels. Creon's ethical food hypocrisy. Creon pulls out the "trust me bro," reassuring M their food is ethically sourced, while literally living next to a slave farm. How much gaslighting can we pack into one book? It's harmful that the book's lesson is, when your instincts tell you someone is toxic, ignore the warning signs. You're the problem for doubting. If you just suffer long enough, you'll discover he was hurting all along for your sake. And also, you have to do the emotional labor to fix him so that he can finally validate you in return. Finally, let's look at some key points about Creon's note and what it says about their relationship. Emelin, the first line said, "Don't em me," I had snapped at him. A pit opened in my stomach, but I read. I could do nothing but read. Immediately, Emelin feels guilt, setting up the reader's expectation that this note will absolve Creon and show Emelin to be the guilty one, not Creon. When he writes, "I'm starting to realize leaving is the best thing you could do," it sounds like caring language, but he is relinquishing responsibility, basically excusing himself for giving up. He shifts responsibility by writing, "Lynn and Tarad will do a better job of keeping you safe than I ever could." Then he moves into a trauma dump to excuse his behavior, giving his tragic backstory to build sympathy points. He says, "And I should have told you, I knew I had to, but ... Yeah, so why didn't he tell her sooner? Why has he been so unavailable their entire relationship? He continues framing himself as the victim without ever apologizing to Emelin for his unavailability. He admits to using magic once to take some of your fears, and then asserts everything else M felt was entirely hers. He frames his singular action as merciful, protective, not manipulation. Right, but he can still read her emotions, which gives him a massive advantage in knowing how to act in order to get what he wants. He says, "And because it seems unfair for me to know your feelings while you don't know mine, M-, I've been in utter awe of you since the moment you started bargaining with me. You'll notice this is a total non sequitur. He is admitting he can read her emotions, but then flips to praising her as if that has anything to do with the manipulative advantage his powers give him. Instead of crying and crying out of guilt and sympathy, here are some ways that Emelin should have reacted if she wasn't a kidnapped, naive girl. She could be skeptical and defensive, and say, "You say that like it erases months of being left. If you could see me, why didn't you say this sooner?" Or she could verify the facts and be pragmatic, and say, "I'll verify your story with what Lynn knows, but you owe me one real conversation when this is over, no sob story notes." Best of all, she could establish a firm boundary and say, "If your silence was to protect me, then explain exactly how staying away was protection. You're distracting with a sob story about sacrificing, but you failed to explain your absences throughout this relationship." Instead, she responds with romantic gullibility and says, "Oh, I'll save you, I forgive you, I was wrong for ever doubting you." The book gives her the least agency of all the options. I internally screamed when Creon wrote, "Tell Lynn I'm sorry." How about you tell Emelin you're sorry for kidnapping her, burning down her house and all her stuff when she begged you not to, for literally grabbing her by the wrist and dragging her into your plot to assassinate the evil Fae Queen, for making her perform as your sex slave in front of others, for giving hands-off homework assignments and disappearing instead of actually training her, leaving her to be surrounded by murderous, rapey, and racist Fae, for never communicating until now when you just trauma dump in a one-page note while playing victim. How is this romance and not just gaslighting?